Righto lads, we're back for part number 18 of the career mode here. Last time out in Australia, taking the win after Red Bull made the stupidest decision I've ever seen and pitted Verstappen on the second last lap. So we picked up the win, our first win, home race, unreal scenes. Just look at how ridiculously far ahead Ferrari are. That is like 50 points of performance. We're on about 700, they're like 750, that is so ridiculous. Some ridiculous upgrades. Yeah, that's, wow, crazy. As now we look at the lid, we've gone for a blue, black and white lid. And then into practice, I was going to make it just black and orange, want a different one, but thought, you know what, let's change it up, chuck a bit of blue in there, something a bit different. A bit George Russell-esque, if you ask me. But yeah, got those practice programs done, no worries. And now let's get stuck into quali.
Venue that has seen plenty of sensational laps over the years. Remember Verstappen in 23, Vettel in 2019, some phenomenal pole laps. But whose will it be today?
Right, our first run in Q1, the battery management again wasn't too bad on this first lap, but similar to Melbourne, I think it got worse as the qualifying session went on, so that's something obviously we need to work on. Quite annoying. As we run up to the line, we do a 128.4, puts us P4 behind Ollie Behrman, and by the time we come into the garage, currently P8, and we've got about a second gap to Stroll, who's on the cutoff point, so we decide not to go back out. Lando quickest, we are 7.5 tenths away, which is ridiculous. And no surprises for once. We got Stroll, Colapinto now in the Audi, Alonso, Bottas, Bortoletto and Liam Lawson all out in Q1. Good to see the two Alpines making it through, as now we head into the first run of Q2. Pretty sure this was on used tyres. I was not going to say fresh tyres, used tyres. So the lap time's probably not going to be that good. You can see we're literally like, look at that, that's like 5 tenths slower. So yeah, we're about 7 tenths of Antonelli there, so definitely had to go back out again. And by the time the session was coming to a close, we were P13 behind Gasly and Perez. As you can see there, we're gaining by about 7 tenths, a little bit more out of the final corner. We end up gaining by just over 8 tenths. Is it enough to get into Q3? It's P7. That would have been quite embarrassing to be out in Q2 in the McLaren. And we see once again Kimi Antonelli out in Q2. Verstappen just making it through as well. To be fair, it was pretty close there. So yeah, we see Antonelli, Perez, Gasly, Ocon, Behrman and Alex Albon all out in Q2. I cannot believe Antonelli is out. Like, their cars are not the best, but it's definitely should be in Q3 every single race. As we start Q3 then, the used tyres, currently P10. So we're hoping to at least get off the last row of the 10 here, which I don't know, obviously spoke about it at the end of the last season. Our qualifying was a real issue. As you can see, they were last, so we are literally 1.5 seconds off Norris. So, and look at that, we're coming to the end of the lap, only up by 5 tenths, 6, now 7, and now we're up by 8 tenths. So we are going to gain by a little bit more than last time, 8.25 tenths. Where's it going to put us? Is it good enough? No, we're P9. See, disappointing. What I was going to say there was, is it good enough to get off the back row of this 10? And unfortunately it's not. So we see there Verstappen P6, Leclerc on pole by 8 tenths. That is ridiculous. We couldn't even get into the 27s. Wow. And look at Norris there doing a 27.0. Still a second quicker than us. Something we really have to work out.
No fewer than 12 world champions have been crowned at Suzuka, but who will be tasting glory today at the checkered flag? We're approaching lights out, and we can't wait for the Japanese Grand Prix. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles. It's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 circuit. And the drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. Keep an eye out for overtakes into the final chicane. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Russell, Carlos Sainz and Verstappen, Lindblad, Hulkenberg, O'Reilly and Isaac Hadjar, Antonelli, Perez, Pierre Gasly and Ocon, Behrman, Albon, Lance Stroll and Franco Colapinto, Alonso, Bottas, Bortoletto and Liam Lawson rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And striding into our commentary box to join us today, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Davidson. I know what we've got to do before the start of today's race, but what about our driver? What do the final hours look like for them?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that.
All right, here's the strat. We've got a 2-stop, 9 laps on each of the mediums, and then I think there was 9 laps on the hards there as well as we line up on the grid. As we get ready to go to 5 red lights here in Japan, got to really make up for this poor qualifying session. Like I said just before, we really have to make up for it this season. As now we head to 5 red lights in Japan and we're away, not held for as long that time for sure. And we see Hadjar right behind us in the Alpine. As now we head down to turn 1 and oh my days, carnage. You see Norris go off. I think that was Lindblad went off. And Gasly's there as well, somewhere behind us. Like, that is just ridiculous. And now we're getting stuck behind Sainz and Lindblad. So, great, brilliant. Look at that, Norris already way down the road. So, looks like quite a mix. Or we get a bit of understeer there. Looks like there's quite a mix. As we're going to have a look up the inside here. Gaining, we think better of it. Oh, clattered the curb. And now, heading up to the hairpin as we go under the track. And of course we're going to send one up the inside of Carlos Sainz. Battled a lot with the Williams last season. Hopefully this season it's more with the Ferraris. To be fair, we battled the Red Bulls quite a lot last season as well. As now, speaking of Red Bull, the junior team, we're going to look up the inside. I thought we were for a second, gaining heaps of time. And then they're so slow through here. So, get a good exit, use the battery, open up them wings, and we're going to fly by. Arvid Lindblad up to P7. Lando dropping back to P6. Just behind Hulkenberg there. So hopefully now we can catch up to these guys ahead and the guys behind can fight with each other a little bit. So apart from turn 1, a pretty solid first lap. Good, decent start. And yeah, so now you can see on lap 4 we are closing in, building a gap to the cars behind. And by the time we get to the end of lap 4, we are now right on the back of this train. As we are literally 4/10 away from Lando. We open up the wings, using some of the battery. It doesn't look like we're going to get him into turn 1 here, so we turn it back down. Oh, we're going to send one late on the brakes. Not necessarily even late on the brakes, but just late to decide to go for the move anyway. Thankfully we get by, no harm done. And now we see, look at this fighting up ahead. I think it's Russell. I think I saw Leclerc's name there as well. As now we're going to send one again. We're doing an identical move. to the one we did on Carlos Sainz on lap 1. And we're going to squeeze Hulkenberg right to the outside on the curb. And we get the move done. So we're up to P5. It's been a very good start in this first 6 laps. Obviously starting from P10. And now we've got Charles. Oh my days, we nearly run into the back of... Oh, okay. And he just wants to park it. I don't understand that at all. So we are now right on the back of this little train. Involving Leclerc and Russell. Even though we're in the middle of it, you know what I mean? As the train is kind of separating just ahead of Russell. I think that's Verstappen. It'd be Verstappen and Hamilton or Piastri. Sorry, bloody thinking of last season. Oh my days, we send one there on Leclerc. And he just, I kind of missed it. I was too busy looking at the minimap, but we kind of sent one up the inside. Not a place you usually go for it. This is Charles' POV. Oh, yeah, okay. See, look, that's a little bit on the edge. I think I left a bit of room. He definitely could have just kept driving. Like, he didn't need to stop, like, put the brakes on and all that stuff. So I'm going to say that's his fault. Anyways, we move on to the end of lap 7, and we're going to send one past George Russell, as now we see cars in the pit lane. It's Oscar Piastri on the soft, so will we see the soft runners pitting soon? The answer, probably yes. As now, moving on to the end of lap 8, start of lap 9, we are going to come in at the end of this lap, and you can see there quite a gap to the cars behind. Sainz, Russell's nearly outside of that second range. We've actually caught up to Verstappen here on our in lap, so that is very good from us. As now we head into the pits. Verstappen actually stays out. Interesting. So Sainz, it looks like he's going to join us in the pit lane. It is Carlos, and like we saw last race, we were at the front of the pit lane as you come in, and now we are right towards the end of it. So interesting. It must vary track to track. So we get back out, and straight away back into the fight as Norris and Hulkenberg are going to be right behind us, about a second gap. We're P8, so not bad, looking pretty promising this race as we catch up to a slow Colapinto, and we literally are pretty much pushing him through the corners. And now we're going to send one. I think we are using all the battery, opening up the wings as he really squeezes there nearly onto the grass. We're going to switch back to the inside line, and we're going to send one up the inside of 130R. That is a very nice move on the Audi. And let's see if Colapinto pits as we are all over the curb. Piastri puts in fastest lap. And now we move on. Colapinto didn't pit. As you can just see there in the bottom of the screen, we have an ERS fault. We're stuck in none. And now Colapinto and Hulkenberg are right back on our tail. See if the boys can figure it out. We eventually get it back. So that is not very good. We've lost so much time. And you can see there, we still ended up with a pretty handy gap to the cars behind, but that definitely doesn't help. So for about half a lap we're stuck in none, and now we see more cars in the pit lane. We move up to P2, and at this point in the race it was just everything was like in a bit of a lull, I suppose you could say. Piastri was a bit far ahead, and we were still creating a more of a gap to the cars behind. So now lap 18, we decide to come into the pits alongside Oscar Piastri in that Ferrari that is rapid. So can he challenge for a title this season? Be interesting to see. So Verstappen takes the lead as we are still, and now we're down to P4. So we're going to come out just behind Piastri as we entered. And we see there Gasly going past Hadjar, Antonelli. Holy crap. Antonelli nearly killed us there. But no harm done. As now Hulkenberg still 3 seconds behind on the mediums. And Sainz a fair way behind him. So this is pretty good. We are right in this train. We could be on for a podium here, fellas, if we play our cards right. As now, are we going to have a look up the inside? The same thing we did to Charles. I think we might be. Here we go. Here's a view of it. Oh, it's literally the same result. Probably a bit on the edge. Apparently we actually had a collision. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, that was a bit on the edge, and Antonelli's done the same, and he's just kind of steered off the track. Oh, yeah, that's a little bit, yeah, that's a little bit much, isn't it? But again, I don't know why he's just and then he stops. Like, come on. Like, just drive through it. Come on, you're trying to keep the place. Anyways, moving on to the end of lap 19, we have Valtteri Bottas out of the session. So that is not good for Cadillac as he's out. Let's have a look and see what happened to him as we start lap 20. Engine failure. The Ferrari just gives up in the back of the Cadillac. That is unlucky. He goes from a P2 in Melbourne, which is bloody crazy, by the way. Can we just... That's ridiculous, the fact that he got a podium in that race. And now we see more yellows. I'm not sure what's going on here, as we're literally pushing Hadjar through the hairpin. And now we're going to send it around the outside. That's a pretty good move. And now we're looking at Pierre. He's having a fight here with our old team, our old teammate. And on the exit here, we're going to dump the battery again. Are we going to get the move done? Let's have a look. As you can see there, we're trying to get in front of Piastri. I don't know if that'll happen at this point, but we're going to send one up the inside. That is a good move. And we're up into P4. So now, let's try and catch up to Piastri. Try and build a gap. And you can see, lap 24, we've created a bit of a gap there. Lap 25 again, now the gap's just kind of hovering around that 4 and a bit second mark. By the time we start the second last lap, it's nearly 5, but you see there the gap to Russell and Piastri. Actually, it's dropping now to Russell, as now we're going to see Max Verstappen come across the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Unreal scenes for Red Bull and Verstappen. Looks like Piastri got P2, Russell P3. We're going to come home in P4. Just didn't really have the pace to close that gap to that podium pack there. But I'll definitely take a P4, especially after our terrible qualifying.
It's another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
We had drama from start to finish, but in the end, there was only ever one that could take that top spot. And for those that have missed the Dutch national anthem, fear not. It's back again because Max Verstappen is back on the top step.
So there it is. That is the Japanese Grand Prix. We pick up 12 points there, P4. I would definitely take that. Lando having a shocking race. Antonelli, pretty nothing day for him. Charles, what? Oh, I forget that what happened between me and him. So yeah, probably doesn't really like me very much. But we see Bottas there, the only retirement from the race. Lindblad having a shocker as well. Now we head over to the standings. Us and Verstappen are tied on points. 37 apiece. Piastri there in third on 19. Followed by Bottas, Leclerc, Russell, Norris and Gasly. And then a little bit further back is Hadjar, Perez. Sainz, Stroll actually surprisingly has points. All the way down there to Alex Albon, I think, who's on 3. We lead the constructors by 8 points over Red Bull, and then a little bit further back there is Ferrari. Mercedes, they get a podium, but still not the start of the season that they would have wanted with Antonelli specifically. So yeah, pretty decent race, I think. A little bit on the edge sometimes, but as we look at turn 1 there. Wow, look at that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, bit over the line probably sometimes, but I think the AI could be a bit smarter too. So, anyways, that's another video done. I'll see you for the next one.